Yeah, probably yes, just to, yeah, it's a dialogue, so yeah.
Just,
Maybe not the paper, but just...
just make a step further back. Yeah, back to the camera.
Huh?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so my name is Marius Nicolae. I'm working for the Danube Transnational Program. I will host this interview session. We have 5 guests today. We are targeting mainly our home viewers, so I hope you will be able to stay with us and listen to the questions and to the answers. My first interviewee is Mr. Sebastian Boniș. He is managing partner of the Southeast Europe network. And I will just jump into the questions. So my first question is, for him is like, what are your expectations from the new programming period, from this new program?
Shortly, to be at least as good or if not better than the previous one, the Southeast Europe Transnational Cooperation Program. I really hope that the program will be able to give responses to the challenges, to the needs which are manifested in this very large programming area. It's a complex and challenge with limited resources, but I trust that creative partnerships, innovative approaches can give good responses to these challenges. The program area, it was mentioned during the day, the program area is a very large one and it's very diverse. You have here in the program area maybe the most developed, one of the most developed regions in the European Union, together with less developed regions. So it's a very diverse socio-economic environment where some can say that it's difficult to find joint ideas or points of interest. On the other hand, the program is focusing on innovation, on putting together knowledge, which I think the region has a very important potential in terms of creativity, in terms of innovation. So the program can help these initiatives come to the surface and can support the implementation, the birth of some very new and successful initiatives.
I think you are perfectly right. We are trying to do that, and in order to do that, we are following this result-oriented approach of the new programming period. Are you familiar with this approach? And if yes, then from a project-wise perspective, how can this function in the benefit of the projects and of the target group of the area?
We've heard during the morning session about this new approach from the European Commission towards the new programming period, with a very strong accent put on simplification, for instance, but also on the result orientation. So the focus on results, as it was mentioned during the presentations. It is, during the programming period, it was obvious. Well, now if you're checking or you're going through the cooperation programs, you can see that there is a very, it's very emphasized the result orientation of the programs. So the programs are required to present the real results achieved during their implementation. So nobody questions the effectiveness or the usefulness of the cooperations, but results are now to be produced, to be presented. That's a challenge, especially in a transnational program, which, as we've heard, has a very limited infrastructural component. So here the projects will be more about cooperating, about finding solutions for the challenges in the program area. Therefore, it's going to be a bit more difficult to articulate concrete results. But on the other hand, so this is making more difficult the planning process of the projects. But on the other hand, once good results, good good objectives and good results are defined, the implementation will be much smoother if this process is done in a proper way.
Yes, and then it will be much easier also for us to quantify these results and to...
For sure, for the programs, it's also useful. I was now reflecting on the project from the project perspective, that indeed it can be a burden in the beginning, or it can be a challenge for the projects to articulate some concrete results, especially, as I was mentioning, in a transnational cooperation project. But on the other hand, once this is done, and this is done in the proper way, then the implementation will be much smoother and more successful.
You just came across the word challenges, which many times means bottlenecks in transnational cooperation. Can you name a few bottlenecks for these projects when they decide to join a transnational project, let's say, or partners who are deciding to join a transnational project? And why not maybe some positive aspects also of transnational cooperation, please?
I think one of the positive side, but in the meantime, it's also one of the most important challenges, the partnership in itself. It's very nice, and it's very, it's a very fruitful thing to put your knowledge together, your resources, your capacities together, and to work together with partners from other parts of this very large programming area. But on the other hand, it's also a challenge, because you have to synchronize, you have to work maybe with different cultures in terms of organizations with different types of institutions. So in my view, this is a positive and a beauty of the transnational cooperation, but on the other hand, it represents also an important challenge. So to set up partnerships which are efficient, working well together, that's for me one of the most important challenges. And to go back to the previous, to your previous question, I think also for the projects it will be crucial to the planning phase. So to be able to articulate, to define results and activities, and to make a clear work plan which would help them further on during the implementation. For sure, also the very diverse cultural environment which is represented by the Danube region, the quite fragmented administrative setup. Let's not forget we have 14 countries with boundaries in between some of them, so you have different administrative and cultural backgrounds which have to be synchronized. So in my view, this will be the most important and the biggest challenge for the success of the projects.
Thank you, and I hope your company will be able to help us, or the beneficiaries in fact, to overcome these bottlenecks. And I wish you a lot of success and enjoy the day. Thank you very much.
We'll do our best.
Thank you. Okay, I will invite now to join us Barbara Chieri. She came from Vienna today to join the event. She's working for Via Donau. So I will just go straight to the questions. My first question is, what kind of concrete results do you forecast for your organization in this during this programming period?
Yes, have three priorities, or we as organization have three priorities. By the programming period and by 2020, we should have innovative solutions for waterway management on the Danube River. And also we should have harmonized approach to the qualifications on human resources, both on shore and offshore, for the inland navigation sector. And we would like to also generate some safe energy supply based on the sustainable Danube transport services.
Thank you. I know I was not part of the Southeast Europe program, but I know that you were a key stakeholder, let's say beneficiary during this period. So since you are here now, it means that you had good experiences in the past programming period. So I will just ask you if you can indicate some positive aspects of transnational cooperation by reflecting to the past programming period, please.
I actually can only talk about positive aspects of the
Good.
programming
That's
period.
good for us. It's perfect.
Exactly. The projects and the partnership, both that we have been able to implement in the past programming period, have been resulted in cross-border concepts, pilots, and those would have never been able to, or those we would have never been able to achieve without cross-border or cross-international cooperation. And yes, you need to remember that the Danube is the most international river corridor or the river basin in the world. And that means that if you would like to achieve something, you need cross-border and actually international cooperation.
Yeah. Thank you. So, since you mentioned the word cooperation, then I will ask you, because I know that you have a a key interest in water management and this domain. I will just ask you if you see a real potential for the DTP countries to cooperate under the priority axis 3, which is dealing with transport and energy.
Definitely, this is the simplest answer.
Yeah.
And
Of course.
yes, we have been.
But if you can elaborate a
yes,
bit, please.
definitely. We have been cooperating for years already, and we have already built some amazing partnerships, which has already shown some amazing results. And we all believe in sustainable transport. And for the Danube region, the common denominator for the safe and energy efficient transport, we see that it's the river transport or waterborne transport. And we would like to work for that to achieve higher rates or higher part of the transport on water-based modes.
Okay. So I understand there is a real commitment from your organization
Exactly.
to be part of the new program. Just want to tell you that today we launched the first call. So after the event, you should rush back to Vienna and then start your application process.
Oh, definitely.
And I want to thank you for joining us and wish you a good day.
Thank you very much for
And hope
inviting me.
to see you in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so I invite now in front of the microphone Mr. Attila Meleg. Can you introduce yourself, please, because you have such a rich bio that I don't know with what to start with. So, can you say a few words about you, please?
Yeah, for sure. I teach at Corvinus University of Budapest, but at the same time, I've been doing a big project for the Central Statistical Office of Hungary. In the previous program, the Southeast Europe program. Right now, I'm also a researcher at the Demographic Research Institute. So, Demographic Research at Corvinus University, and I'm doing other things as well.
Okay, so it means that you have a special interest in migration, in demographic issues. So then I will just ask you, how do you see transnational cooperation between different stakeholders with different levels of governance in these fields of migration and demographic changes, which is a very hot topic these days. It's a hot potato that nobody really wants to hold. So
Absolutely. I think, yes, I've been dealing with migration for quite some time. And right now the issue is just blowing up in a lot of ways. The thing about transnational cooperation and migration is that the two things cannot be separated.
Yes.
So migration is a transnational phenomenon, so you just cannot really separate it. And then, you know, the funny thing is when you can see even in the case of the refugee crisis, that national governments are not trying to cooperate with regard to something which is completely a must, a necessity to cooperate. So this is one. So I think such programs like the Danube or the previous Southeast Europe program are really good programs because it forces various actors to work together nationally. The previous project which we were working on was about very much about statistics. And you know, the big problem with migration statistics is the same. Statistics is national, but this is a transnational phenomenon. So how do you collect data and how you put this together. So this means that you need a cooperation between various actors throughout the region and even outside the region. So even to locate the region on the map of migration is something very important. You need to build up transnational data banks, you need to have transnational strategies, otherwise you're not going to be able to work out anything. Plus, very importantly, you need to combine countries and actors with different interests. So there are, in this region, there are immigration countries and emigration countries. So why don't you start a transnational dialogue between them? Because their interest is conflicting, but in some ways they have common interest which they should figure out. So in case Hungary is sending away quite a number of migrants to Germany, Hungary wants to know more about those people. If Germany is receiving people from Hungary, they would like to know more about this. So I think there are plenty of things. This is one level of cooperation. The other level of cooperation is just as important. Migration is a very complex phenomenon, so you have to work on the various levels. First of all, I mean, government bodies like statistical offices or ministries have limited capacity to work out what the issue really is about. They need expertise, which they can't have all the time. So you need research institutes to be integrated. In case you have research institutes, then they can really advise, do the analysis, and work for a public body or a government body. But you also need to work on a local level, because demographic challenges are really big, not just on a national level, but on a local level. So I'll just give you one example. Let's say there are two countries, Romania and Hungary. Yes. There is migration. There are, yes. And then there are very strong migratory links, which we need to work out. So I am sure that the next speaker will speak about this, but let's say some Roma communities in some villages in Romania, they do come over and they work here. When they work here, they get out of schooling in Romania, which is a huge problem. So why don't you have a transnational dialogue with regard to that? So how you solve the problem of these migrant groups? Migrant groups are vulnerable. They suffer quite a number of disadvantages, especially if it's lower class. So something is to be done, that's for sure.
For sure, and just to point out that migration means also diversity. And you just said that our program is also very diverse. It has very innovative countries, but also innovation followers in the east part. So here I see a matching point between the problem of migrants and what our program can offer. And then I just want to ask you, what can academia offer in this sense, in this regard of transnational cooperation? How do you see the role of academia in these projects? Because there is somehow a gap between the practicality of the application form and the implementation process, and somehow this kind of theoretical approach of the academia towards transnational projects.
Absolutely. I think it's very important. The academia, I think, may have several functions in such programs. One is to be the brain, in the sense to be creative and figuring out how this cooperation can be done, what are the real issues, what analysis to be done. As I told you, local governments, national governments have limited capacity. Those people work a lot in public administration, and then to ask them to do something extra, for them it's very difficult. Research institute might have some flexible capacity in this. The other is the translation of the problems. Transnationally, the translation of the problems and the translation of the problems within. So academia can easily work with the national governments, but they can also work for the local governments, because they, once again, they don't know what the data is about. They don't know how to do a regional analysis. Yes, data, yeah, absolutely. So how to do a statistical analysis there, how to do a population projection. Yeah, so this is what the academic can always provide. So I think it is just the kind of yes, one of the key creative part of the story. And I think in case it's not there, then I think transnational cooperation is going to be much more difficult.
Probably we will discuss this issue in depth tomorrow. So I will invite you also to join us tomorrow. We have a very nice workshop on governance.
Yes.
I can invite you also to join the workshop for the specific objective 1.2, which is dealing also with social innovation, of course from an entrepreneurial perspective, let's say. But if you are joining us tomorrow and you are here, then please also
Yeah,
join
9 o'clock
our...
I'm coming, yes.
Yes, 9 o'clock is the governance workshop, and then 11 o'clock we have the specific objective 1.2 workshop.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, the academics have one more problem. They also teach.
Time.
Yes,
Okay.
which is a problem for all of us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
Hope to see you in the
Okay,
future.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, I will invite now Mr. Laszlo Moravcik, and I will kindly ask him to present himself in a few words.
Good afternoon, thank you very much. I am representing the Hungarian Charity Service of the Order of Malta.
You work a lot with people in distress, with marginal categories. So then I will just ask you, when it comes to the inclusiveness of these marginal groups in transnational cooperation projects, where do you think that more action is needed from the stakeholder side?
Yes. Actually, when we are talking about these marginalized groups, usually, of course, in general, we can say that this is connected to poverty, even deep poverty. But more than this is also connected to discrimination, or even if it's not discrimination, but negative stereotypes, prejudices, or etc. So I would say any kind of action which drive or lead to a change of mindset, change of approaches of the wide public, and especially to the decision makers, even including the group of the disadvantaged groups mindset change would change the whole situation. Honestly speaking, I have to say that there is no recipe, there is no formula which could lead to a change of this present status quo since hundreds of years. The good thing is that already today there is a common European agreed principles which give a framework for the actions, but you know the principles alone is dead, so we need the actions, and I believe that as this region is facing exactly the same challenges, challenges every country. So if we join together and if we jointly design those evidence-based facts and figures, and then we can collect them and create the critical mass to have a bigger voice in this region, to attract the whole society and the market.
So you are saying that there is a European legal framework in this respect which can be a starting point. In a way or another, we are here dealing with a European program, probably building up or bringing together forces to change mentalities. So in fact, I'm arriving now to my question. How do you see the role of transnational cooperation in changing the negative perception towards the marginal groups? And when I say negative perception, I mean not to see the marginal groups as a burden, but to start to regard them as a resource, a demographic resource, skillful resource, and so on.
Yes, I fully agree with you, and I think that's the secret what we see. I have to say that if jointly in the region, all the countries, all the institutes, the NGOs and the ministries together can find on and invent new arguments, not the old arguments which we are saying, keep saying years and years, and that still nothing changed for the better. So we need innovative new arguments which is attracting the whole society, all level of society. And if we do so, and when we have the arguments and we are testing this, and we have the hard fact and the evidence-based results, then I think it could change to a new situation.
So it seems to me that you have good expectations from this new programming period, especially that you had a very good project in the Southeast European program, East Euro program. Can you develop more on these expectations in terms of cooperation, of networking, of results? What are your expectations?
Definitely, I think we have learned a lot from the previous programs. I think all the goods and the lessons learned, the bad things as well. So we are trying from a different status now. And with the new program, I must say that there is now a clear room for these social innovative projects, which is a very good thing. Secondly, I think it gives an open space. It's give a creative space for doing that, and on the other hand, it's still giving a very good guideline or structure to formulate it, to develop it. And last but not least, I think what I understand, I hope I correctly understand, that the focus is now even bigger for testing that, for piloting all the things, what we figure out and we find out.
Yes, you're right, and you managed to convince me that you have a clear understanding on your expectations and on the role of your organization for in the framework of the new programming period and of the Danube program more specifically. So I wish you good luck and enjoy the day, and hope you will be able to join us tomorrow too.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. All the best. I invite now Matija Softic. I hope I was able to pronounce your name correctly. Yeah?
Yes, Mateja. Yes.
Mateja Softic.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, Mateja is joining us from Ljubljana.
Yes.
Can you say a few words about your institute, or just a short description, bio for our viewers at home, please?
Yeah, so I come from Iskriva, Institute for Development of Local Potentials, and we are a private, small non-profit organization focusing on facilitating the cooperation, the development and implementation of projects focusing on responsible use of natural and cultural resources. So in the past Southeast Europe program, we participated in successfully preparing and also implementing 9 projects in this field. So we know the troubles and the joys of this.
Then if you know the
troubles,
then I will just ask you if you can name some challenges that in actually implementing transnational projects.
Yes, I thought about this, and our team thought about these questions a lot. There are many, but maybe 2 levels are the most prominent. One is organization. This is really working with 10 or more partners from very different cultural backgrounds, very different practices of work, can be very, very tiring, challenging. And we have learned that the projects are always a reflection of the project manager, really the strategist of the project, and his team. So if this will be a lot of work, we heard today, pick the best of your teams. Really do that, because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of day-to-day complications, but also solutions that have to be met. On the other hand, connected, of course, to organization and communication, even within the project, we talk about how we have to find a way to communicate to all different stakeholders, but in these types of projects, you have different sectors and different organizations within a project. So it's very difficult sometimes at the beginning to find a common language within the project in order to even communicate outside. So be sure to make effort in making a dialogue within the project partnership to overcome individual, maybe even goals and individual expectations from the project. This is a transnational project, and so it's not...
That's a key factor,
That's a key factor.
I would say. It is a transnational project, and going beyond this individual approach, it means that you really have to be able to network around. So then what's the relevance of networking in transnational cooperation? We are here, we are 500 people, so is networking important for the development phase of a project?
Absolutely. I mean, it's important from the first day when you think of doing something. The best projects really come from joint effort, so that you really make first a connection of all relevant organizations, and then really to find the common challenges and the common vision. So the common vision of a project is the key to really be successful, because as we said, you cannot just go into the project and say, I will do this in my country and that's it. So you have to follow something more. And I think the greatest benefit of transnational project in this respect is not only you get to meet a lot of nice people, but it really is a platform of building, on one hand, understanding between sometimes very different cultures, which can be then transported into everyday life in these organizations. So to see opinions changing within a 2-year project is really one of the key successes. On the other hand, really to see that with added, and it's not, the learning process does just not go just from more developed countries to the least developed countries. I think it's really important that also less developed countries can give a lot. And building this human capital in the region, I believe, is the most important aspect of this program, but also most difficult to present and to promote. And I think this is also something for the program to put a lot of effort in, showing these untouchable results. So not just we made this strategy, but behind it 300 people learned something. They're doing things differently in their organizations, in their countries, and this stimulates long-term impact and change, real change in society. So this is what these transnational programs should be about.
I fully agree with you, so that's why we are launching the first call today.
Yes.
So it's not only the kickoff conference, it's also the launching of the first call. All the documents are available on our website under the first call. The expression of interest, the applicant's manual, the cooperation program. So in this context, what would you recommend to people listening now to do? What would be the first step in starting a project?
Well, the first step for sure is understanding this program.
Perfect.
It's not for
Perfect.
everything. So I know
reading the documents.
reading the
probably
documents and really understanding what the program is about. It's not about building bridge, physical bridge.
Yeah.
It's not about, I don't know, a million other things. So really understanding this strategic component and really know what you can and what you cannot do with
So
it.
a clear evaluation of the resources available, human and financial, I would say, yeah?
Human and financial resources, both. And I think one of the main problems or things is that sometimes people see the projects as a goal. Should not be a goal. So it's only a tool to get to your, to realize your vision. If you don't know today what you will do in 5 years after the project with this, what you're doing, don't do it. And really these projects take a lot of work and preparation and networking and promoting before. In our experience, at least 6 months of work to really be good.
Yeah,
So don't just, for the sake of you.
The deadline is 3rd of November.
Don't just decide today, let's make a proposal.
Yeah.
So think about what are your long-term goals and try
I agree, we have a very strong component called durability.
Yes.
So I agree with you that it has to be a vision, and you have to come up with some durable results and outputs, and this will be also part of the assessment criteria. So in just one last question, not that complicated, where do you see the role of your organization in this process?
Our organization has a very big network of organizations in
Perfect.
the region. So if anyone is lost, we can, on one hand, put them together or help them find partners. On the other hand, our main task in all of these projects were keeping really this strategic umbrella overall and trying to really keep the story together and the organization together and the coordination together. So these two aspects, I would say, are our main contribution also to the project, the program that we have also throughout networks helped connect networks and help bring different projects and people together. And help them steer in the right direction. So not just, have 10 projects that are the same, because
the strategic vision that my colleague Alessandra was saying.
A lot of things are already done. So look for things that are already there, think about how to use them, and
which is also part of our program, the capitalization.
Exactly.
You can find it in the applicant's manual, the part of about the capitalization of previous results from other projects. And also, I would say it's very important for them to first to find the financing instrument, and then according to that to develop the project idea, because there are several other financing instruments in this area, like Central European Program or COSME or Progress or LIFE or Horizon 2020, which of course has the innovation is the main core of Horizon 2020. So that's very important to first to identify the financing instrument, and then to think about the change that you want to make and those durable results that you are mentioning. If you have something else to add, please, and then we will conclude.
To what you were saying, actually, and think about, are you the right person to do this?
Yes.
So, are you really the organization that can do this? Or maybe it's better to connect, or better to, address the issues that you know well, and that you can really bring good quality results to the story. And good luck.
Thank you, Mateja, for joining us today. Thank you for answering our questions.
Pleasure.
And I will just invite our viewers at home to join us after 2:30 for the next panel session. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
I hope you were satisfied.
It was perfect.
you.